anzo kulong gomshi kya wosta kulong di ni khani ya ge chue de ni chi chue sto ti wa chme chue sto chi ti chi da ne kulong che de jo sim je tam je shi de san je go ma to do ti chi de ne chue che go do chue che wa la chue xie go do xie wa la tu go do sam yin chi de ne tu go yin da da do ru sto na xin bian du ya ge chi de ne chue tu go yu es ro ne wa de sam no kulong ya wo che shos Babin Losang la sound Babin do
Okay, Kishil, I'm sorry.
Odalis
Arouse kulung yakpo jeshu means arouse quality motivation, so that Maya and the teaching that we are listening to indeed becomes Maya and the teaching by way of motivation. And what is the motivation that defines such an act to become Maya in the practice? And the motivation is to determine to achieve the state of a Buddha for the good of all fellow sentient beings. And in order to bring about the highest good, one needs to have the knowledge, and one needs to have the know-how. For the know-how, to gain the exact know-how, I need to get the right information about it. To this end, I will listen to teaching tonight. In brief, so please arouse the highest motivation for the benefit of sentient beings.
Aya da gawa gom la tin ngar za salam ji de ta chue inji chuwa de ni kyo sang yin tin ji gawa gom ba
Now please rejoice because of this yet another opportunity to listen to discourse on salam, grounds and paths.
Hoi, adri yang zu di sungdo zindo sa di. Yes, koka wo yore la. Jina di tsik di koka wo cha rama shunga. Ranzu tu jun su su samu dang dang na la di nima dagwa rish. Dokpa di ji yu dewa shire di yang jik dharing mik se di. Kaya khadu lam yang ja jik xie na ser su, kodero su je ni. Jik jangi na pe pendo yore siro.
So the section that we are dealing with is obstructions to omniscience. For example, Tokpa Sungdo and this Tokpa. They are quite hard to come to terms with, although intellectually and technically difficult to come to terms with. Nevertheless, innately, we suffer from them. Therefore, I'd like to go over them once more so that we have a better understanding.
Angbo sungdo da, zindo sa di, sunwa da. Zimba sa di kaa la ge yore la su di, sunwa sa di yu la. Yu dan yu je ni zi yu la kogorwa. Zimba sa di shewa la ya ko. Tangbo. Sunwa di yu la paa cha. Zimba di yu je la su yu kogorwa yasirwa.
So, so here we are talking about conception of objects and conception of subject, or conception of subject. And sungwa refers to objects which could be afflictive and purified. And then Zimba refers to subjective, consciousness or awareness, observing the object long.
A dhandegi tokwa di je tsangwa chukyo ma dinzi janyang rawa. Dinzi janyang sha gore, dinzi rawa. Yu tenpa dhubi dinzi janyang rawa.
So all these conceptions, now here, conception pertaining to a subject, conception pertaining to to a subject. All of these Tokpa conceptions are conceptions of Denzin, a conception of true existence. Conception of true existence. Los.
Tadi sungwa sungdo de la jubwa sungdo dan tokwa sungdo sinyi ligdo shidip. Shizan shidip legwa de ta tanda wangyoro la shidip sa de dinzi yinzang sanje ji goma toba la parjuji diwa sonzang shidip chagora. Ta kabde shidip de zo dinzi chagora. Ta jubwa sungdo, tokwa sungdo la yundu. Ta dire denpa shi dirwa, denpa shi di dunga denpa dan kunju denpa di pa dogu go yora ngurwa, kawa le dogu go yora ta. Ti zimbe zimba di la denpa doga zimbe dinzi irwa, dunga denpa, kunju denpa, duzo denpa doga zimbe dinzi di la, kapdi ki ta du tokwa sundo si koshana di yore. Ani jubwa sundo sa di sanje ek lamla jubwa rinpa, lamden dan kogden denpa doga zimbe dinzi duzo la ya jubwa sundo si. 어디 죽도 생도 그냥 그대로 다나 도스체네 코나 아니 니 세워차로다 세상 틱디 데즈 랍다면 다미지 단다리스 어디 먼저 랑게 풍불라 미니 템버도즈메 딘지디 아니 디 다디 오네시나 디 도구 여러 먼저 디 마도시 디 진데 여러 다디 도구 인자 딜라 도고스도스라 먼저 코 레도라 두 둥에 덴바도 군제 덴발레 도구 와라 코레 도구 와라 동해 된바다 군주 된바 디니니디 딱 데려와서
빵저로
방자리 코와라와 딜레 방고 도고 요라 어디 어두스체니 다 코단로 어디로 이름이 당랑서 짐바디 예요래다가 그 민디 라마트에 대대르미시 짐바디 예요래성들로
Okay, now remember we had conceptions are divided into conception of true existence, which conceptions of true existence, which are knowledge obstructions or obstructions to omniscience. There were okay. Number two, subject and object. Now, as for object, as for conception of existence of object, there are two of them. When divided, conception of true existence of object is divided into two. Okay, conception of true existence of objects to be eradicated. Number two, conceptions of true existence of objects to be cultivated for growth. So now, to deal with the first one, conceptions of true existence of objects of elimination or eradication are the first two of the Four Noble Truths: true suffering and true origin of suffering. They are to be eradicated. But if one views that true suffering and true origin of suffering are truly existent objects to be eradicated, that conception that they are truly existent objects is also to be eliminated. So, so it is. We all know that true suffering is samsara, which is, for example, one's afflicted aggregates, and true origin of suffering is the source of one's aggregate. And so these two truths are to be eradicated, but it is wrong to view them as truly existent objects of elimination.
다 갑들 다 지난게 도바송도 주고스는 데샤그로 갑들 아니 자와 문도 진지 갑되게 아니 체베 도바송도 세야데 먼저 팀이 라미어와 년도 다좀 받아 란제 다좀 라미어와
long
티 티진 람라드네 반자래와 반자로와
나래
티진 람드네 반자 티진 람라드네 도고 인자 티 방고 티 티진 람라드네 아니 더고와디 아니 템바두와 지윤디 아니 야 텔라 도바송도 세 딱갑디 자외가 자서디 디가는 자고 무스 자서디
loss. So what I've just presented to you is a general understanding of or conception of true existence of objects of elimination. But in this context, it has a very specific reference, and it is this: between Mahayana and Hinayana path, from the perspective of a Mahayana path, a Hinayana path is to be left behind, to be eradicated, to be left behind and move onwards. So Hinayana path or Hinayana, the ideals of Hinayana are to be eradicated, and therefore Hinayana is an object of elimination. by a Mahayana, by a Mahayanis. But to consider Hinayana as a truly existent object to eliminate it, that's wrong. Wrong. To hold the view Hinayana as a truly existent object to be left behind by a Mahayanis is wrong. Now,
다 이나 년도의 남도 티진 남라 되니 독부 장 방자레스 이나 방자 말했어라. 지난 방자 말. 방자 마인디 랑자레스. 랑자인디 남이베 치스 랍션 리고다. 줌젠데 디스커션 야야 오이키스. 줌젠메 와제데 네 오이키마다.
So, Hinayana path in relation to Mahayana path is a panja, means to be left behind, to be eliminated in this context. But Hinayana path is not object of elimination because it is a path. It is a Buddhist path. So as a Buddhist path, it is something to be cultivated. No.
다디네 주바디 티진 유기 찬주가 셈다. 지소 파진 주고 냠len다. 어두스레다.
Now, the second broad category is Jukpa, Jukpa Sungdog. Jukpa means engagement. And objects of engagement, cultivation, objects of engagement, cultivation are, for example, so relative bodhicitta and bodhicitta and six perfections and so on. So from the Mahayana context, all the Mahayana ideals subsumed by Mahayana system are jukpa, are to be engaged in. They are objects of engagement practice. Long.
닝에 세워지서 나한테서 알아서 지도는 깨지시디 밀라 팬도시나 아니 아니 부드지다베 잔죽심 깨기요라고도 잔죽심 깨기요 쓰기도 디 진짜나 잔죽심 레라고 쉬어야겠다 디체니 미시디 레라고 당셔라 근데 잔죽심 깨 레라고 거래로 잔죽심 깨는 디질람 줄게요 거라 밀라 팬도시와데 셈바상부 제르미지 잔죽심 가지래로 잔주쌤 계약 더 제어름이지 잔주쌤 계약 말아 이런서 망고지기 페라고 스테스 때와 부드지다 이해요 시 부드지다 딜레라고 쉬지 써야겠더라 근데 레라고 했는데 심지어든지 산예사르다 내가 말하면서 강의들은 내가 말아 책도서 비제치도 정말 인지되게 배 자신부터 추난시 써야겠다 말 나와 써야겠더라 상상라 디디네르 제레도 하셔서 이제 지난주 밀라미에도 디 잔주심 말에 저는 잔주심 깨라 냠nen치고요래 밀로 팬도체 디 신빙심래 잔주심 말에 되죠 잔주심이나 티질럼 줄게요 티진 솔럼 줄게로라
So before I move on to the next one, I like to I like to make a cautionary statement, and that is many a time when somebody out of kindness helps another person, then a Buddhist person says, oh, that is really bodhicitta action. That's a bodhicitta act. Great. And an act of kindness is declared as an act of bodhicitta. That is not an act of bodhicitta. What is it? It is an act of kindness. No doubt about it. It is an act of kindness, and it is a stepping stone towards the development of bodhicitta. To say that somebody has bodhicitta, we must be absolutely sure that they have got, they have developed, they have embarked, they have reached the Mayan path of accumulation. It's only when they arrive at Mayan path of accumulation, where they develop true bodhicitta, that one can say that they have bodhicitta act. So therefore, I sometimes feel people make ill-considered statements, almost diluting the essence of what bodhicitta actually is. I must confess that an act of kindness is a worthy act of kindness, something to be cultivated, but a single act of kindness or few acts of kindness doesn't amount to bodhicitta. If that were the case, there will be no samsara left. Almost everybody has performed some acts of kindness along the line.
어디시 다드네 송도데 되고시 다 진도사 다디데스 뇨라여와디 양자지 랍키신나시네 다나 진도 다디 다 켜숨 쳐오래 진도기 에네 젠질라미그와 젠지기 제율라믹스 코라로지 숨로로 되네마 진도 그런 딘지체 아니 제유진베 진바 찍체 다디로 로 튼드레 로 튼드 제유디 네 젠지디 제율미 나는 제유스나 가르라고 그래 스타르바 제유스나 가르서 그래 유디 진바 젠지체 젠지디 네 덴바도즈메 딘지 유진레 차그다티 덴바도즈메 진바텔라 아니 젠지 똑바스 지지다디 디 샤바 덴바도바 제유진베 진바 덴바도바서 다데 주유는 롱제자식 지라들 다들 나무와시 코데고 스페셜이나 제유디 진베 진바들라 젠지제 젠지디 에네 샤바디 덴바도바즈메 진바들라 젠진 똑바스 젠진 똑바디 딘지르와
Yes. So now, having made the first two categories of the four categories of obstructions to omniscience, now I want to move on to the next two. And then the first one is Zanzin. Please, if you want to write down Tibetan word, Zanzin, it could be DZA, and then DZIN, and the DZAY, Z means substance, substantial entities or substantial existence, Z. Zin means grasping, DZIN, Zin. Okay, Zin. So then Zin Tokpa. Tokpa is a conception. It's not any ordinary conception. It's a conception of a TE, conception of TE. So to hear so many kind of few steps are involved. So first we have to consider Zin. What is Zin? Zin is a subject, okay? Zin is subject or observer. And what does observer observe or focus on? It focuses on a substantial, okay, a substantial entity or substantial existent. That part, when a subject, when an observer, when an observer focuses on or grasps, okay, when a subject observes or grasps at a substantial existent, that part is correct. That part is plausible. It's correct. But now Zenjin Tokpa. So that's conception of true existence of conception of true existence, conception of true existence of observer focusing on the substance, sorry, on the substantial existence. And so conception of true existence, what does it do? It is kind of, there are two subjects, there are two layers of awarenesses. One is observer, Zin. Tokpa is a conception of TE. So conception of TE considers the observer of substantial existence as truly existent. That is, the conception of true existence considers the observer as truly existent, observer that focuses on substantial existence. Long Geshe.
이제 하나 디시고 당서 우마란 유튜브에 시작하다 봐.
So
난 제유사디 가war라고 그래서나. 최대 심라야 차라윤디 코로나 신배 최직 또 먹어 코로나 샤트미 얘기 최직라 갑디 제유에서 거다 된디 제유디 샤고다.
So in this, remember, we are doing or discussing all this within the broader context of autonomous Madhyamika. So according to autonomous Madhyamika, they believe in substantial existence or substantial entities. So an entity is said to be substantial by nature if it could be, if it could appear to a mind without needing another phenomenon for its identification. In other words, a phenomenon or an entity that independently appears to the mind. Long.
다들라 친시샤한디
I is long. I is a good example.
이기남시 두고 이기남시디 아니 샤고 두고 이기남시디 나 제유 샤고라 제가 두고 이기남시디 루이드 차발라 녜주지 뜻인가랑 ben 수수수 상로 차용으로 먼저 미망고지 공원에 자니도 들어와 나 부모가도 제연되네 나 가르래도 따연되네 가시에다 셔버 권한레샤서 나랑 게 영화되거나 네 셔버 디그랑 아레샤 상당디 로라 셔고요라 지내갑라 이기남시디 나레 솔로샤연지 네 강바다 라과다 닝당 고다 된대 상로제 땅 말에 고란 싱딩되네야지 녀예지 칸라 로일레 때먹으니지 네고 용거여변자 디 이기남시디 제유레라고 그래 제유 된데 상상 걸 제산 제유레스 디 제유 디 친시디샤 간산 제유스 간산들 니샤라 간산 제유스로
No. So a substantial entity of or substantial existence is that appears independently to an awareness. I think there's a neat definition now. That which appears independently to an awareness without needing the help of something else. And I is a good example. I is a classic example of substantial existence for this school, because for this school, they say when you look for a person among the parts, among the aggregates of the person, ultimately you will end up finding I in the sixth consciousness, which is mental consciousness. When according to the school, when mental consciousness comes to the mind, it just when when mental consciousness, i.e., I, appears, mental consciousness, the referent of I, just pops up independently without needing to use some other expressions like my feet, my heart, my mind, without needing to say. Just a mental consciousness, the referent of I, independently appears. And therefore, for this school, mental consciousness is a substantial entity or existent. Long.
다디 그런지 상무당데 땅아 데레샤서 방해지 아주지 네 이기남시디 나레샤세 이지치고요 이지치는데 근데
Long.
이기남시 나레스 진이지 도와다 나레스 진디 뉴스도
Long.
예스 나레스 진이기 시와 디야 디야야 데마도 진기지 다셔서네 다다 두고다다
Long.
디디 나 이기남시 진베 이기남시 나이 섬진베 진바디 아니 덴바토바 진윤디 아니 젠지 똑과세다 뭐 신시들이 알아서 니마다 버릇이 요르다 배 작서 제대로다 그 잘라도면서 라마토 대대로 미시 지금 요르다 작서 요르
So now, I forgot to anyway, that gist was translated. Now here, Geshe says, "Ye get namshi ngayin zimbade, and demotuba zimbade, and zenzin tokwa." So remember here, substantial entity in this case, according to this school, is mental consciousness, the referent mental consciousness, the referent of I. And then the mind that observes or that considers mental consciousness is I, is okay. Now there's a mind, there's a grasping. Let's say there's a grasping, or there's a mind thinking. Mental consciousness is I. Okay, that grasping, that mind, to view that mind which grasps at mental consciousness to be I as truly existent, that is, to consider that grasping of mental consciousness as I as truly existence, to consider that grasping, the subjective grasping or the subjective mind, thinking mental consciousness is I as truly existent, is called Zenzin Tokpa. It says conception of true existence, grasping at substantial existence. And now, although it's a mouthful expression, but Geshe says we all have it, and we are filled with this. We're filled with this innate mental cogitation going on every day. Long Geshe 이게 남시 나이 짐바데 데모트브 짐바데 엔젠즈 똑바레스 와.
어디 예
So I hope my translation came through clearly to people. So the term that we need is called Zenjin Tokpa. Zenjin Tokpa. Okay, Zenjin Tokpa means conception of true existence of a grasping at. Conception of true existence of a grasping at substantial existence. Long question.
세상디 당저 이게 수수 범접도 nga 세지 nga ji ni 세저로 다디 참로 낭배게다 너무 좀 된데 이게 다 따로 선어디 먼저 가시에게 돼 다지 전지 도고 써야지 싸워라지 야 속고에서 낭배 쇠에서 근데 걔 말어 그 여대바디 먼저 라마트엔 되더라 그 실내 여 먼저 짐바디 여 먼저 더 상말에 열다 텐지디 수수교 탐지로 미더파다 미더인데 더 취단 지우단 아니 낭바단 어두제 귤에 짐바디 열다 그 여대바지르면서 지게 당 여어디 하고 하마고 되더라 먼저 디자 또 좀 되지 나 딘데게 투나 짐다 타고 싶을 수 있는 nga sinyi jik zin wa nga sinyi zimbo koran ya pe demba do jik zin pe tiya da khanla döme jire sin zin yu zang demba do zin yi sheba koran khanla döme jire zin yu zang la ne pe ding da di be dinzi di pe thakbo shi cha di wang ge ta nga zo su nga je chero do ya dang ani jik pe jik kondo chero do ya dang thado chero do ya dang 그 상마 텔레디네 용되게 여러 가지서 또 좀 된데 싸워서죠 이렇게 말어 봐. 오늘 심지어 탐지라 너만에 현지고 온게 짐바디라다 가다를 쉬어je 배 현재 차제로 디왕 세상 딘지기 민라 차 차과 민다고요라 gel어서는 차과 타서거든. 딘지라 차과 민다요 인자고 니가 왕게 먼저 친기 여러 받아 거로 호배 유딜라 쇼도 여러 받아 디체네 니 양직 신나야 왜요 심시다 데 남바게 몽고제 사워를 sö제 다디야 지 사워를 검제 당아지 다디 진지 똑바디 지 sö제 데 베제 데 시기도 다디야 sö제 근데 걔 고마라 수수심게 땅땅지 뭐 잘라도 마스나나 도마진데 디슈마르에스라 디포버에스라라 아니 포버통인데 어디 포버리샤 어디 슈마르지 다라래 근데 라트에다 그러는 미시지 사고 공부해야다 사와 속에 지요 말아봐 사 스웨덴은 다 강해래 되네 유대어도 파시에 매든지 스웨덴은 매버지 요바 소도 말하고 근데 되게 부수도 붙여 강의 차이가 여러 하시는데 디안에 그 nen가라고 지시나 아니 먼저 좀 된데 송주去年 받아서 스스 뭐에네즈나 심다데 sem바데 타 녀르 되네 소소라 징아제 총으로야 콘도 총으로야 짐바 총으로야 현자 총으로야 근데 총나네 뭐네 수수수 삼단다 지원에 수수 동에 수수 잡아야 돼 연구로다.
So now here I want to make the following observation quite important, and that is this concept of Zenjin Tokpa, which is conception of true existence of subject, grasping at conception of true existence of grasping of substantial existence, or conception of true existence of a subject, that is awareness, mind, grasping at true existence. Because it sounds quite complicated. And then when you meditate, you might think to yourself, why did Buddhism make all this difficult, come up with such difficult system? And it's not that Buddha invented conception. Okay, Buddha did not invent this Buddha did not invent such thing as conception of true existence of a subject, grasping at substantial existence, for example. Buddha discovered, not invented. Buddha discovered that sentient beings have all of these conceptions. And it's just that sentient beings have never woken up to the fact that they have been having these inadvertently. So, so all sentient beings, let alone humans, the dog, the duck, for example, have had a conception of true existence of subject, grasping at substantial existence throughout beginningless time. And yet sentient beings have not woken up to the fact that they have been holding wrong ideas. They have believed what they believed was true and has been true. And then when they believe that their conception of true existence is correct, then that is reinforced, solidified, really solidified. Tapu means solidified. Out of this solidified conception of true existence of subject, for example, subject and object, for example, then out of that solidified conception of true existence, then arrogance, anger, jealousy, hatred naturally arise. And so I'm saying this once more. Buddha did not invent all these conceptions. Buddha discovered that sentient beings suffer because of their conception of true existence vis-a-vis two types of object and two types of subject. And sentient beings have had it throughout beginningless time because of their having them throughout beginningless time. Sentient beings got attached to their conception, to their belief that true existence is correct. And by the way, for our information, sometimes conception of true existence is also known by the term attachment to phenomena. So, so what Buddha said was, for example, I've demonstrated the proper means a cup. Buddha said, this is a cup, and Buddha called a cup, and torch a torch, and that is a cup, that is a torch, was not invented by Buddha. So when sentient beings realize that they have been conned so profoundly by this underlying conception of true existence vis-a-vis two types of object and two types of subjects, sentient beings have been suffering. When they wake up to that, then Geshe says, gradually the intensity of a conception of true existence will decrease. With that, attachment, anger, jealousy will decrease. Lost Geshe.
다들 당지 도와서 들어와 당지 도와서 당지 도배 당지 리밍 당지기 다유 리밍 다 다유 리밍은 당고 다유스는 가르쳐 그래요 다연디라고 그러와.
So now the second, or rather the fourth of this category of true conception of true existence is called conception of true existence, grasping at imputed or nominal existence or nominal entities. So now here, it's called Tharchin Tokpa. If you want the Tibetan word, it's called Tharchin, Tagdzin, Tharchin. Ta means imputed. And Zin means grasping, or the subject grasping. Tharchin Tokpa means conception, and conception bracket TE. Lost Geshe.
다 되는데 다요 같은 가서나 최대 루이드 차벌라 최신시 그런 많이 최신시 루이자 배나 포버데 다요래 포버들와 그래서 포버디 셈나는 샤워 당연히 디기 포베 섭다다 룽다 디게 컬러 디게 셈나 샤고다 선 포베 섭다디 입디 포마르와 포베 추시디 포마르와 그래서 딜루이 차는 포버 루이 차고서 포버디 다요르지나 최신 루이드 차고 되고다 그래서
So now here, what is Takyu? Ta means, as just mentioned, translated imputed, or imputed. Yu means existent or entity. The cup, for example, is an imputed phenomena, imputed entity. A Takyu, an imputed phenomenon is that which imputed phenomenon is that which depends on something else for it to appear to the mind. In other words, imputed phenomena appear dependently to the mind. So the cup is a good example. For us to have this idea, it's a cup. Cup appears via the parts of the cup, the shape, the color, the parts. It's only first we see parts which go to make the cup, but the shape is not the cup, the handle is not the cup, the base is not the cup, the color is not the cup, but all of these kind of conspire as well to make a cup for the mind. So cup appears dependent on the parts.
할때 전화 주자연데 교다였어. 교다였어. 교스나 배낭하면서 뉴질랜드라 그러다 그러다 지게 미밍데 여러다 그러나 칼라고다 미밍 드라마네 여러
No, that may make Mari 20 to do on the screen.
머리를 다 머리 얘네나 아니 머리 던져 상담데 그 수보 상담 거다 심을 차원대로 이제 미지다 머리도 전도 20도 클립도 가리나 지다 다시도 두루로지 상담인데 미디 수보도 놀러 샤고다라 수보도 심을 샤 미디 디디 요레스 심을 샤고다 그래서 그 수보도 미디 말아 그 직동 입도 동 섭다라고 강바다 라과다 이게 심나라 샤고다 들어 이게 샤 아니 미디 어떤 알아서 미디 두자 시도 상담인데 당고 미디게 수부디게 심나라 샤고다 미디 수부디 미 말아 미디 말아 하셔서 지금 그 로유차 뜨고다 지금 미디 기부다여서야지 가사들 니로 그주 심디 단단 간줄 샤고 말데 다들 일데 말하다 단단 디세브세잖아 그거로냐 디젠지 간 샤시라
So now I gave the cup as an example of Takyu imputed imputed entity or nominal entity. Now, to bring it to the context, Kibu means a person, a being. A being, a person is a takyu, imputed entity or existent. So let me look for some names. So Mary, John, Philip, or Philippa. Ya, có Philippa mà vì mình chỉ một some của mà kia là. So Mary, John, Philip, and Philippa, and so on. So, for example, when you when you think of Mary, for example, you can never think of Mary without you having an image of Mary's physical physical entity, his height, his build, and so on. It's only by physical appearance. What does it look like? His height, build, weight, and so on. The person of a Mary comes to the idea of the person of a Mary is formed. And when you say somebody is a bad person, again, whether you say somebody's a good person or a bad person, a person's we simply cannot hold the person by simply holding their name. The image, the physical appearance comes to the mind, but the body is not mind, height is not mind, build is not mind, and looks is not mind, so it's not person. The build is not person. So, but person is dependent on these. So the person of memory dependently comes to mind via appearance of physical attributes. Loss.
디 곰제스 점나 야고요래. 아니 칙도 다다 라초용 그래. 만들어 디 아니 배주요. 칙 배제나네 셰베체. 아니 수수 삼로스탄데 스스로 다라레 삼데 아니 에지 칙 배제 단다데 수수 녀야간라 레온데 칙데 단다데 고용데 아니 빼미시 심라 가와당 아니 디소니게 덤발라 이질레야당 가올레야 디 용구로 아디 삼로당 그래. 삼로당으로 삼로망고당 그래 스틸
So please give considerable attention or thought to this. And once you think about this and your reflection confirms the validity of these issues, then a new joy you will find a new joy, new sense of a joy with regard to these technical terms and how valid these are in real life. And with the knowledge that all these are not irrelevant intellectual game, rather very much about how we view things, how we relate to things. It gives us a new joy, and then via that joy, one will develop appreciation for the Buddha, who, through his discovery of all this complex web of mental, manifestations, has made it plain to us so that we don't fall victim to our own mind.
다 된대기 니 밑디다 삼로 차연디 아니 풍불라 풍불로 유차 되용고다 되는데 아니 대 데 짐베 짐바디 간산데 짐베 짐바디 아니 덴바두가 진윤디 아니 단지 도와 차다다 차로와 데 다유를 다유 짐베 짐바디라 단지 세로와 단지 도와 세로 다유 단다 딱과디 아니 미다보다 딱과다 말에
No.
다유 다유 짐베
Both.
짐바디라 단지제
Mm.
단지디 아니 덴바두가 짐베 짐바스 땅에 코데오 스위치나데 롱조제 지지 뭐게 칭지어 아니 데 단지 짐베 짐바 단지 짐베 짐바데 덴바투와 왕원에 투와 덴바투 유중원에 투모모엠베 율롱원에 덴바투와 진윤데 아니 단지 독바스 당긴 고마데 로 튼디레 당긴 고마데 로 튼다 튼바라 로록시 말에
And the
니
diet.
그 다유레 다유 진윤데 그 튼디샤라 로 튼디라
Nare.
다 다유 짐베 짐바티 덴바투레라나 덴바투에 말하고 그러와 세상 니
Nare.
진디 로 니바디 다 로시 차용 거라고 로고 차로라 어디 겨와디어
Mm. So, so we have, I hope we have formed some idea of what is a Tharchin. Okay, grasping at. Grasping means mind, awareness. So the mind grasping at imputed or nominal entities. So what does grasping at imputed phenomena focus on? It focuses on imputed existence. So that part, there's nothing wrong with that. It's correct. It is correct. The mind that grasps at imputed phenomenon as imputed phenomenon is a valid mind, correct mind. And however, the conception of true existence of the mind grasping at imputed existence as truly existent is the problem, is the mistake. Because although there is mind or grasping at imputed existence, there's nothing wrong with that. But to consider that grasping of imputed existence as a truly existent grasping, that is obstructions to omniscience, and that is the problem. So that's called Tharchin Tokpa, conception of true existence of mind grasping or observing imputed phenomenon. Imputed existent. So we have got many of these.
디 지단 탄다 따유 로유디 차단디가 삼로단투이나 응안주 뒤주 미디도 자시도 미디 야고지도 세야죠로다
나래.
라윤 주장가라 아니 수수심나라 직차제 아니 디 두자도 락더라 심나라 샤된 조데 야 가서도 말아하고 나랑 심나라 샤된 조지르면지 심나라 샤된 조지 미 말아다 야야 뒤에 상로직 단과에 차되거더라 먼저 디 딩고네 레텐데기 여러 알레 직 가서 그러다 직 유목 자원에 방세로다 근데도 내가 커버들래 다 수수 심나라 차단데 뭐마트네 내가 디다 투야 상황으로서 딜 투지 투야 상황 투되고라 심나라 샤든이다 당기데 골로일라 베나다 필리비나다 필리바이나다 다 토니나다 수이나 그 메질로 샤은지 아니 그 풍부도 제디 마음보다 신성하러 와. 다 대자마세 심나라 샤든 조가데 미디 말아와다. 그래서 안아서 되게 심나 찍샤 미디 루자 시우다 심나 찍샤 아니 딜라야 찍서 니서 상담 부수 더고자 근데 아니 수수 tunang 관계 수수 생기 chanandila 이지 체제 아니 수수 누구 단데 봐 수수수수라 누구 단데 어디 라초요 뭐다 되고 삼 디삼로디 땅토베이나 빼야고요 되다 곰잖아 어디에 자고라 수수 생기 chanand데 예스나나 아니 수수 투버세스나나 아니 다라와다 산제스 다른 뭐 개요 뭐라 뒤다가라 그 투버세도 타워 톱도고요 tuba mewe nega dala sang sayade lo tuba di pa sang jen yo de sang ge so ra je nga zo ta de tuba de wa ko re je de de ro ko de yi ji chen de ba na wa di sim na chan na de wone di ra yi ten je de de ga la nga zo da ana sa ma ko la cham ya de tu na wa ge ko de yo re sa de da kim zen de wa ro
So if we, in our own reflection, anytime, in a quiet time or any time, particularly about Takyu. Takyu means imputed existence or phenomenon, and how an imputed phenomenon of a person, for example, appears to the mind. When somebody has provoked one, then in one's mind, long after provocation, that bad person reappears in the mind. There's the image of the bad person. And the ruffled, agitated mind believes that the image of the person in the mind is the person, and one gets worked up that is the person that has caused me trouble, when the image of the person in the mind is not a person at all. There's no way that is the person. So, for example, using Philip or Philippa or Tony or for example, Mary. When you think of a person, that means when a person appears to you, the person appears not unrelated to the aggregates as a person, as a Philip or Philippa. Philip or Philippa as a person appears to the mind via the physical attributes of the person. But physical parts of the person, we all know is not a person. And however, person is dependent on the parts for it to be an existent or a phenomenon. So what we need to do is we entertain the wrong idea of a person. For example, appearance of a person in the mind, to take that as a person, and then you first, okay, then what you first a person appears to the mind, then one starts a long yarn. This, then he did this, that, this, and jikje nise means he did this one, he did that one. So one concocts stories, and what appears. So that tunang li jije means deceptive appearance, mistaken appearance is believed to be or rather one believes in the mistaken appearance, and that is the person that appears to the mind as a person, and how that person has caused a lot of trouble for one. However, when we, through careful consideration, dispassionate consideration, how how is all the concoction of concoction by the mind, and when that becomes apparent to the mind, all the concoction will vanish. All the mistaken ideas of person, for example, mistaken perception of person, mistaken appearance of the person, mistaken grasping of the person, all the mistakes will the mist of mistaken conceptions will vanish in the space, and the reality of person will dawn on one. So when the web or the mist of conceptions vanish, then one has woken up, or sort of one has waken up to reality, and that's where nirvana or enlightenment lies. Lost Kishila.
한다 디나라 잠베스 주는 데도 깨지지기 치라치 깨지지기 조산지스 깨지지기 치라치스디 투나 데베 내가 깨지들라 먼저 코레스 싱구 투나 코르디 투나딜레 파 데베 내가 들라 아니 산제르스와 깨지지기 치라 산제다 심제세야디 깨지면 찌간을 파지 여치로 그러시디 다디 단다 삼로도 내 담바이나 아니 원에 말한서 당고 라토라 말한서 수수 생게 셈기 투나 셈기 직 다들 세부셔브레다 로미 말한서 미두자다 미야고서야지 삼로는 여러 예 심나게 당기 세워나시디 이다 아니 디레요 말하고 내지들아 디는다 아니 난게 망고여라 셈기 차나게 미디 미나 아니 심나게 차나게 세데 세잉고라 칼레견 마잖나 세 삼선나잖아 맞아 세 메망고차 아니 셈나 차나게 돌러레로 차고만도 하셔서 아니 디데 세워도 아니 어디게 자메시지 식들이다 깨지지기 치라지 깨지지기 도산지스 산제다 산제세데 깨지지기나 깨지 투나게 싱구 투나데 원에 덴바지 덴원에 레티베 데가들라 먼저 코알코 심지 차로요레스 디네바 되베 내갑들라 투나 탐제세베 세워드 립드디 아니 산제체로 레스디다 디 지난데 디저 단도 잠베스제디다 나단 데워레 이나 단데들레 데워도 하고 다다 로데기도 하지 거야 다다 데워시 도와 디니니를 와
So here I believe there are two lines that are in Manjushri. Excuse me, I need to blow my nose.
yeah
There are two lines in Manjushri Namasamgati, or the Manjushri name recitation, which is praise of Manjushri through his name recitation. In that, there are two lines. Gejijigi jetake, gejijigi zosange.
깨지지기 치라치
Jetache.
심제다 산제 여와 치로 그랬어
So again, it says, gejijigi jetache. A single moment delineates. A single moment delineates. In a single moment, Buddhahood is gejijigi zosange. I'll translate once more. Gejijigi jetache. A single moment demarcates, delineates. In single moment, Buddhahood achieved. So what that means is the demarcation of enlightenment and samsara is presence or absence of tunang, means mistaken appearances and graspings. Mistaken appearance. When there is mistaken appearances to the mind, there's samsara. When the mistaken appearances have ceased irreversibly, the mind awakened to Buddhahood. So that's what I've been saying. Simply Tuna, we give so much credence, importance to appearances to the mind as being the person or the thing. And we believe that person, that is the person who harmed me. So one gets worked up for observing in the mind, for entertaining in the mind a person that's not a person at all, and gets worked up for no good reason. However, if one realizes appearance of the person in the mind is not a person, that is a kind of a release from disturbance, ruffled. However, if the appearance of person in the mind were to be a real person, then certain absurdities would follow, such that then appearance of gold, appearance of a ton of gold in the mind would be gold. One has become rich instantly. Appearance of dollars in the mind would become tangible dollars you can do business with, and one's poverty removed. But appearance of gold dollar in the mind is just an image, not real things. So it makes a lot of sense. I think we'll stop here.
Sing me dog drum, re robbling, shiny dig and party, engaging to make te broken num dog sing la cho parsh. Jetson lama kunzi rapting shing, nam katrin le cho gabadam, Losang timpe drome sa sung yi, droe mon stao tak tu ning guruji, evam guru ratna. Due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created by paying homage, offering, and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and questing that the Buddhas say and teach, I now dedicate all this to full awakening. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious one south gone of the 3 times, that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the king of Dharma, Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma, practice and flourish. May the omens of obstacles be pacified and all conducive circumstances be complete. The wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech. May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, it makes extremely clear the path that is the unification of emptiness and compassion. To the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech. May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You uphold the subduer's moral way, serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels. Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please swiftly return. For relying on the two accumulations of myself and others in the three times, may the teachings of the conqueror Losang blaze for a long time. And swift return prayer. Peerless teacher, assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratika Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lamps, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings. Through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for all mother living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. Thank you, Losang.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Geshe, thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, what's that one here? Mario. Geshe, Mario is now.
Mauricio flower.
Yeah, Mario is Mario Pumbo Geshe, Mario Pumbo Raba. Mario Pumbo Loy the channel, Mario that Tanjin Tayin, Mario Tanjin Dogba.
Mario does it.
No.
Okay, goodness. And Tony did. Caroline. Everyone, good night.
Geshe, then the control got the dual equivalent to do it in your
Yuri. Get Puig switch on.
La.
Get Puig switch on.
What to you?
Hey.
Thank you.